just come in and buy a whole tour.
Right. I think that the other thing that we haven't touched on yet, but will, as a promoter, ticketing is an example of each act having control of their destiny, and coming to terms with, I think the Prince, of course, is still the pioneer marketing genius in terms of keeping ticket prices low and getting to as many people as possible. But ticketing is in my world, in the world of concert promotion, that's the biggest challenge. And so electronically, or the how technology enters into that, it has changed everything. So I guess I'll leave it with that.
Lynn, what changes have you seen? I know you're in a different area as far as acting, but these people you have to find are for commercials and television shows, and a lot of them have music as an integral part of them. And some of them are involved in ancillary items after the show, whether it be a soundtrack or a product. How have you seen the change, and has it helped you? Have you had to diversify a little bit more?
I'm going to get in trouble because I'm kind of anti-technology. Because in my business especially, so much is a personal relationship and face-to-face, and half the time now I don't even see clients. It's upload the audition, download the audition, send it via, iChat. And so less and less in my industry are people actually sitting in a room and getting to meet somebody face-to-face, which so much of, the entertainment business is about personality as much as it is about talent. And you don't get someone's personality from, sending a 2.5-minute video via email. And you can get an idea of what somebody does and what somebody's talents are, but it's not the same thing as walking in a room with someone. So for me, it's really difficult because my job is to try to promote the talent that is in this city as well as, Midwestern cities and get them to either coast, and oftentimes it's hard to do when people are expecting it, like I said, over a computer screen. I do a lot of work with Disney. It's exactly what this guy said. A lot of stuff is, we want a triple threat. We want an actor, we want a singer, we want a dancers. Disney is the perfect scenario of, they get a great actor who also is a singer, and they cash in left and right, and they sort of own you.
It seems like there's less a problem with that now than, say, 20 years ago. Because 20 years ago, people in the music industry would not sign an actor who was a singer. That was problematic. We thought that was cross purposes. So now it's all over the place.
It's all over the place. They just did three films that, the talent had to be either musicians or singers or dancers, and more because there's money to be made exactly in the ancillary market. So people, are looking more for someone who's a little more, I'm not going to say more talented, but talented in many areas, yes.
Well, you've just heard some about the personal touch and the fact that it seems like some technology, instead of bringing us closer together, it makes distance. Just something to think about. Mr. Davidson, as far as what they spoke about, is Prince being innovative in some of his entrepreneurship. I'd like you to mention a few things that you're privy to on what caused the opening of his club. Was it his idea? And certain other things that he's done or that you've been responsible for, which seem very fresh in the marketplace and at the time were different than any of the other artists or record companies.
I think one of the most interesting things about Prince and why he has been so successful, and I think Greg would agree with this, is he's always looked for ways to push the envelope. And that's one of the difficulties that he's always had with the record business as it's set up right now. He does not quite fit into that box. What do you do with an artist that's able to produce 20 songs a month, that wants to put out 3, 4, and 5 albums a year? The way the industry is set up, they buck that. That's not comfortable for them. It doesn't quite fit into their business model. I don't know how many musicians we have in the room, but that's something that you're going to have to face. What do you do when you're making these creations? So one of the things that he did is just continue to figure out ways to get his music out there, to promote his ideas out there. The nightclubs, whether it's a great idea or not, I think I was more the catalyst for that or not, and then he said, yeah, you know what, that can work. But he also,
It was, for my generation, the glam slam, it was synonymous. In other words, when you thought about the club, you thought about all the other things you perceived Prince to be.
right.
It was all of, the branding was excellent.
Yeah, and that was the thing that made the idea work and made it go forward, is that we saw that we could do a lot of cross-marketing, cross-promotion, get our live acts out there, get the music out there, promote the local bands, and just really play a role in more than just putting records and whatnot out there. So, and that was the reason why we went forward and we opened up other clubs in other cities and other major markets. And that was the reason why we supported the club in Japan and doing that franchise in Japan. And it was a market that we could get into and just have more influence over what was happening there. And now you actually see that the Asian market is growing exponentially every year. And that was back in the 90s when everyone else was kind of like, oh, that's a small market, let's not spend too much time over there. But even at that time, he was very, very much a forward thinker. I think back in 92 or 93, we were looking at ways to do the downloads, and the technology just wasn't up to speed at that time to do it. We were working with so many different companies. EA Sports at the time we were developing. We also launched a CD-ROM back in 1993, which was the Prince Experience. For the technology and what was available to us back then, the reviews that we got were amazing. I think it got 4 stars out of 5 stars. It was probably the most, they deemed it one of the best DVDs, ROMs at that time. So yeah, I mean, he always pushed that envelope. And I would say that's kind of what you have to do. If you enter the business and you're just looking for a way to fit in the box, you'll kind of get on that treadmill and things will go, but they're not going to go the way that you want them to go. They're going to go the way that somebody else is dictating them to go. I think it's important to get in there and try to make change and try to make a difference and come up with new ideas. Facebook, anybody? MySpace? That's what these guys did. Any entrepreneur is going to look at a situation and they may say, that's good, but it can be done better.